I was not expecting that, Addams Family. All right, so I am sitting in my stairwell because this is where my framed 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie poster is. And there's a new Turtles movie coming out this week. I think it'll already be out by the time I put this up, but I grew up fucking loving the Ninja Turtles. I think I became aware of them in like whenever the cartoon started, so probably like 87. Had all the toys, you know, the cartoons, the cereal, the pajamas, the Halloween costumes, the birthday parties, all that shit. The video games, and the first movie is a masterpiece. It is one of the best comic book movies ever made. Second one, I did a review on this channel on edibles, and that was pretty fun. The third one, I'm not going to do a review on edibles. I'm going to do it on a lack of sleep. And then I've only seen the second of the Michael Bay ones. I did like the 2007 one though, the CGI one. I thought that was pretty good. So I'm gonna revisit Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, and so Mission Impossible is out at one of our theaters, and it's a super long movie, so I have a lot of time to kill at night when I'm in the office. And I was like, fuck it, I'll watch Ninja Turtles 3. And holy shit, so I've never seen this movie before. I remember wanting to, it came out in 1993, I was in 5th grade when it came out, and I remember really wanting to go see this movie because, at that time there was Turtles in Time, the game. There was an episode of the cartoon that dealt with the Turtles going back to, in Japan. And then there was also the comic book where there was like a lizard samurai and like a time mistress and stuff. And I guess they originally had planned to have this Turtles in Time story go across all media. So I didn't see this movie because at the time my friends were like, no, people are going to think we're nerds if we're going to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I was like, motherfucker, they already think we're nerds, It was the same thing. I went to go see Mortal Kombat in 95 by myself because guys were like, well, what if people see us there? And I was just like, yeah, that's the reason no one wants to fuck me, is because I went to go see Mortal Kombat. And I'm not even a video game guy. I like fighting games and I like side-scrollers because there's there's strategy. Don't get mad at me. But to me, it's just like I just pick up and play. So I never saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I know the beats. I know, who was it? The Angry Video Game Nerd did his review of it, and they had to edit it out to make it more PC because in the original one he says retarded, and they went back and they re-edited it, and then they re-released it when I was still working there, and it was kind of funny because they, whatever. He wasn't calling mentally challenged people mentally challenged. He was using whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna get myself in trouble now. Okay, so Turtles 3, they could not afford Jim Henson Studios anymore, and it shows. The movie is lit like a TV show. Like everything is this even flat lighting, so the turtle suits look fucking terrible. The first movie and the second movie, not even just how great the Jim Henson suits were, it was lit well. It was lit mysterious, and you covered the fact that they were dudes in rubber suits. In this one, when their mouths move, it's so uncanny. They look like they're covered in I don't know, like moles. Like I feel like the turtles should go see a doctor. Like they all have melanoma. And then when they show their teeth, it's fucking weird. They're allowed to use their weapons in this one, unlike part 2. I remember going back and rewatching it, even on edibles. I remember how disappointed I was that they didn't use their weapons and that they tried so hard to make it look like the second season on of the cartoon, where it became so much more silly. Kind of like they did with Ghostbusters 2, where they tried to make it more like the cartoon. But Turtles 3, it's got this weird non-tone because there are serious elements to it, but that's buried in poor production value, a shitty story that's broken. The time travel rules are broken literally from the moment they jump into it, because they switch places with someone in feudalist Japan, but April still has her Walkman on so that they could have them think she's a witch. Everybody comes back in like jock straps except for the one that was wearing shorts, because Michelangelo was wearing shorts, so they could get that joke in there. Robbie Rist comes back as Michelangelo. Corey Feldman comes back as Donatello. He was not in the second one because he was in rehab. Splinter looks like a fucking... You ever see like really bad taxidermy? Like there's there's a fox that's like sitting there and it's awful looking. That is what Splinter looks like in this movie. Eliza Koteas comes back. Paige Turco, I think, was April's name. She's back, but she's just a damsel in distress now. Like, the movie kicks off because she was going on vacation and she brought everyone broken shit. Like, here you go, Donatello, here's a broken radio that you can fix. And, Michelangelo, here's a Hawaiian lamp. And then she goes to give Raphael a fedora, but he walks away, and then that plot line's never completed. And then there's like an egg timer that's like a time travel machine, and April gets brought back to Japan, and and the Ninja Turtles go back in time and they become samurais, not ninjas. That would have made the most fucking sense, right? The true villain of the movie is colonialism. There's the white dude who's selling the general gunpowder and fucking like cannons and shit like that. There's a ton of terrible pop culture references. The Addams Family thing, the Elvis Blue Hawaii joke at the very end. What a way to end your series. Like, on the saddest joke, poorly executed by a fucking horrible looking puppet. Eliza Koteas plays plays two characters in it. He's one of my favorite character actors of all time. He's been in so many amazing things, and he gets a little bit more to do in this one, unlike April O'Neil, who gets nothing to do in this one. The warlord is like talking about how his ancestors were attacked by demons, but the demons look like turtles. So does that mean that the other, like the comic book story or the game or the cartoon ones, happened before, and this is like this version of it? And then why would they look like turtles? Like dragons maybe. I could see them looking like dragons or something, but I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. This is the RoboCop 3 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. It thinks it's more mature than it really is. It attempts to be serious with the villains, and the villains are more interesting, and they're better acted as well. But the turtles just look fucking horrible, and the bad jokes, and the fact that they can't. They can use their weapons, but there's no choreography like the first two movies. This was clearly just a cash grab by New Line, trying to get it out because Turtles were fading away at that point. By '93, you got to think like Street Sharks, Battletoads, Stone Protectors, all that shit they tried to be Ninja Turtles had all kind of failed, and kids were moving on to other things. They're moving on to like fucking Power Rangers came out in '93. Yeah, I was in 5th grade when Power Rangers came out. And then they tried to do that 97 show where they added, like, is it Mona Lisa or Venus de Milo? It was a girl turtle. The original plan was to make a 4th movie and introduce Kirby, another the 5th turtle, and he was going to be named after Jack Kirby, because Jack Kirby obviously is the artist that Eastman and Laird bonded over when they created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What a fucking brilliant... Like, I know that I did a review of the first movie on that other channel I used to be on. That's one of my favorite reviews I ever did. Mike Matei and I, in that one, we were having such a fucking good time. And there's several chunks of that episode which are cut out because we said things that were so offensive that had to be removed, making fun of the other guy on the show. I laughed really fucking hard at that one. But I just remember going to see Turtles 2 in the theater, and again, like Ghostbusters 2, like RoboCop 3, being so disappointed that it didn't have the same feel as the first one. But again, I think I'm trying to think about things in a more positive way. And yeah, this movie's horseshit. But it's sort of like the Star Wars prequels. People I meet now who were little kids in 1999 were like, "Oh, I thought it was great," and I was just like, "Well, yeah. If you were a little kid, 3 to 7, and you went to go see a movie that had anthropomorphic turtle men dressed as samurais kicking and punching, you would be like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen." So I saw it at a later age, so it never connected with me. But I think if you ask those kids who thought that the movie they saw when they were 3 to 7 about the anthropomorphic turtle man dressed as a samurai kicking and punching, and they watched it now, they would go like, "Oh, this is a piece of shit." But I guess some people like Space Jam. You know, I fucking hate that movie, or Hook. You know, shit like that. Like people can't take the nostalgia glasses off. Nostalgia is man's greatest Achilles heel. But yeah, so by the time this movie had come out, I was phased out of Ninja Turtles, but still I wanted to see it because it was something that reminded me of when I was a kid. I was in 5th grade, so I was still a fucking kid. But man, this movie's bad. I do like the part where Casey Jones is taking the samurai guys who they switch places with out to bars, and they're trying to like adapt by like dancing and stuff like that. It's the same guy did the score for all 3 movies. This one is awful. This one is just like not even pedestrian. This is like whatever, good enough. And it's got that Tarzan Boy song in it that was really popular for like a hot minute. It was in like Listerine commercials and fucking Tim Allen's Jungle to Jungle, if anybody remembers that movie. Another one I saw in the theater, I don't know why. So I'm hoping that this new Ninja Turtles movie is better. This is the first time I've seen Ninja Turtles 3. All the parts that I knew from other reviews or from what other people had said were there, and I see all the criticisms because it's really embarrassing when the dude falls off the thing again at the end and just vanishes. I think that was in the nerd episode of it too. I don't want to plagiarize, guys, please. Yeah, this was not a good way to end your series. And there was little things they could have done. They could have just simplified the story. They could have... My dryer's done. I'm washing my sheets because I'm actually home tonight, not at work. And I have company coming in on Tuesday, so I want my place to be all nice and clean and all that. And I finally finished putting up all the posters and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I'm hoping this new one is good. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Fucking brilliant. Eastman and Laird, they created this like joke which just was a perfect encapsulation of that time that just tapped into something in the zeitgeist that it was wild, man. Like they go, "Oh, mutants and ninjas are the biggest thing from movies to comic books. We're going to make this parody satire on that," and made them billionaires. Like it was I can't even begin to explain. Like there are things now which are that big, but at that time, like it was literally everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere without something being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was all fucking for it, man. And again, you go back and you watch that first movie and you go, like, this is perfect. I understand that that New Line wanted something more akin to the cartoon, wanted something more akin to you could bring little kids to, because the first one is pretty dark, but they were never able to capture that tone ever again. And I think the closest thing they've ever gotten was the 2007 one, which was a continuation coming off of part 3, because it does feature the egg timer thing in it, and the ooze canister and Shredder's helmet. The Michael Bay ones, I never saw the first one. I saw the second one. I thought it was pretty bad, but I thought it was cool that they finally brought Krang, Dimension X, and Bebop and Rocksteady into it. Yeah, no, I don't know. So we'll see. I'm going to do my review of the new one, but finally getting a chance to sit down and watch this and being like, wow. I probably could have continued to go on not ever having to watch this movie. shot like a TV show, which I mean makes sense because it was a TV director. Except the scenes that are in Japan were actually shot in Oregon, like right near where they shot the Goonies, and they actually did a pretty good job with the exteriors because I was like, oh, I would have never guessed that this was America where they shot these. But the way that the turtles move, their mouths move, the horrible fight scenes, the terrible jokes, you know, sad way to end the series. And then you got that terrible 1997 The Next Mutation show that came after that. I watched what's his name, Phelan, I think is his name. He used to be a Channel Awesome guy. I watched his reviews of some of those episodes and was like, God damn, they're like fighting like puppets and a gorilla man dressed as a Dick Tracy villain. I was like, what the and then there's a girl turtle, but they're not related because there's like sexual tension between them, but it's a children's show. And I'm like, whatever. Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, they sold their rights. And actually, you know what? 2003 maybe, they came out, there was another cartoon that was actually pretty good. I saw the Batman meets the Ninja Turtles one. That one made me happy because Batman folds his pizza the proper way. So I was like, good, Batman eats pizza the right way. And then they did one where like all the different turtles came together from like the different timelines. And that one was really cool as well. I love to see the original style turtles in black and white. You know, before they gave them the different band. Everyone got a different colored bandana when they sold the rights, because they needed to differentiate the turtles, and then they created the pizza, and April became a TV news reporter instead of a scientist, because people are mad about this new one. They're like, oh, they made her black. I was like, dude, she's black in the original one, going back into 1984, you know? If you're going to get mad about something, at least do your research, sirs. All right, so I'm gonna go and I don't know, I was going to make a Ninja Turtles joke, but I couldn't think of anything. So, yeah, Ninja Turtles 3, I finally watched it, and I was not missing anything whatsoever, because it's pretty awful. And for once, the internet was right.